Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Java, how you doing, man?
Man, it's another Friday. It's another good day in the neighborhood.
I got a feeling it's pretty warm out there, though, isn't it?
It's funny. We were just joking in the back, John C., Marissa, Abram, the live stream crew, and actually, it's supposed to be a little cool today. It's only supposed to be like 100 degrees outside. Not 110, not 115. It's only supposed to be 100. So it's kind of cooling off a little bit.
Yeah, well, it is still July. We're in the dog days. And by the way, I got some notes here. Dog days, insufferably hot, dry dog days. And Java, this goes back to Roman times. They thought, people's blood were boiling and all like that. But in 1813, an English author named John Brady wrote that is when the sea boiled, the wine turned sour, dogs grew mad, and all other creatures became languid, causing to man, among other diseases, burning fevers, hysterics, and frenzies. Frenzies. Well, I think if you're having a frenzy, you need to go back inside and have a drink of water.
Well, there is like a correlation between heat and I want to say violence or aggressive behavior, because it's just, you're just uncomfortable. And it's just, there have been studies about that.
Grouchy, just grouchy, frenzies and grouchies. Right now, about the only time you can find a breeze is you're sitting on a slow moving swing porch early in the evening. And have you ever heard, you're city, right? You're born and raised in the city. Have you ever heard distant thunder for what we call heat lightning?
No, I don't think I have. I can't say that I have.
Okay. Country folks, small town folks who know, sit outside and you see lightning in the distance. You think it's thunder, storming someplace, and you can hear these little rumbles. It's called heat lightning. Just on hot days, I don't know what exactly called. Be glad to find out about that. But it tells us somewhere somebody's getting a little bit of rain. And I know we've talked about this before, but this is the time of year when if a cool front does move through, you can smell the rain. And we've talked about what causes that, I think, about the smell of dirt. And we talked about the smell of dirt.
Is it something with like the atmosphere or something? I don't know.
Yeah, when a cool front moves through, it's low pressure and it pulls air out of the soil. It degasses the soil. And there's a bacteria in the soil that decays organic matter. And in warm climates like we have, it gives that little earthy aroma. They call it petrichor. If you know how mushrooms have sort of an earthy smell, catfish have a kind of a funky smell. Warm lake water, kind of a funky earthy smell. That's petrichor. And when a cool front moves in the summertime, it pulls that gas out of the soil, and you can smell the dirt, which we say means you can smell a rain coming.
Well, yeah, that's a good explanation because I knew the phrase, but I just didn't know the science behind it. But also people say they can feel it in their knees or something like that. Like it's gonna rain.
No. That's just getting old. Yeah, my rheumatoid is kicking up.
It's gonna rain.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking. I got quite a few things to share today, but it's a time of year when people need to be indoors. And I'm hoping they're paying attention by tuning in to MPB. And if you are tuned in, this is the live call-in program. If you want to call and chat about something that's going on in your garden, or maybe something you're thinking about doing, or something's not working quite right, or maybe you heard something kind of strange, you're not sure about it, give us a call. I don't sell anything. I'm a retired extension horticulturist. Don't want to sell anything. I just don't want to. And my advice is based on what would I do, practically speaking, or what would I recommend my mother or my daughter to do? So I'm not going to try to sell anything. Anyway, give us a call. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, whether you want to admit it or get out there and do it or not. So we can talk about anything you want, your favorite tools, lawn care, vegetables, flowers, shrubs, pruning, hanging, baskets, bugs, blights, whatever. I've got some unusual things to talk about, but give us a call. It's toll free, 1-877-MPB-RING. So how am I doing so far, Java?
Oh, you knocked that one out the park. 1-877-672-7464. Also, you can use the YouTube chat as a place if you want to drop some questions. Some of our usual suspects are on the YouTube this morning. Alan from Virginia is checking in. We have Dean from Alexandria, Louisiana. We got Margie checking in from Harpersville, Stewart from Ellisville, and Zippity Doodah checking in from Nesbith, Mississippi.
I know a lot of folks who are on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page tune into this also. But if you want to, folks, if you're listening, sometime you want to see the pictures of things that Java and I are going to be talking about the next couple of hours. Drop in and drop out as you want to, but you can pause it. You can watch it anytime, day or night, by going to YouTube and in the search box, put Gestalt Gardener, or go to mpbonline.org and fiddle around with radio until you find Gestalt Gardener. And you can listen. You can do this anytime, 24/7. So if you don't feel like you can stick around for 2 hours, pop in and out and catch up on it later. Java, this past week, I normally don't talk about, the fact that I'm not in Mississippi right now. My heart's in Mississippi. My garden is in Mississippi. My potted plants, my truck is in Mississippi, my family's in Mississippi, but I'm actually in England. Matter of fact, my MPB coffee cup that I usually use is too dirty right now, but I got my little English coffee mug going here, little British looking thing.
With the double decker and Big Ben.
Yeah, Big Ben and all that. But this past week, and I'm not going to talk about a bunch of English stuff because this is about gardening in the South. This is about Mississippi gardening. But I do want to show a couple of pictures just to sort of get things rolling and waiting for folks for the calls to start rolling in. Let's see if we can get John C. to put up picture number 1. This past weekend, I went to a garden over in Yorkshire. Java, England doesn't have counties; it has shires. Yorkshire, Lancashire, Warwickshire, all those kind of things. This what county. As a matter of fact, that's where the word sheriff comes from, the shire reeve. But anyway, this is a small garden that I heard about from a fellow named Monty Don. A lot of people watch Monty Don on the BBC Gardening World. But anyway, this is a huge culture out in the middle of a wildflower patch. But I want to get to something. Put up picture number 2. They had a Stonehenge made out of hedges. They call it Stonehenge. And it's a
that's pretty cool there.
it's exact replica, 30% the size of the real Stonehenge, was made out of hedges, Stonehenge. But what really surprised me about this is I was tootling around and put up picture number 3. I came across their long border. A long border is where they have a walkway with flowers on both sides as far as you can see, all the way to the end, repeated things. And what's interesting about this, which is also the backdrop today of my live stream, every flower in this picture, Java, native to Mississippi. There's a bunch of weeds.
That they've put together in a nice arrangement.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't, we think of wildflowers as being kind of every which way, but uh, when we use flowers from other places, we put them in groups, repeated groups, clusters. We don't just let them go every which way. Well, this is goldenrod in the foreground. In the far background, you see goldenrod. That pink stuff in the middle, that is our native summer phlox. And we've got some little Shasta daisies in the foreground, but they have all sorts of stuff. Obedience plant, just tons. Amsonia blue star. Some of their most popular summer plants and fall plants in English gardens are native to Mississippi. What do? We try to grow stuff from Asia or from Africa or Europe, South America. We overlook some of the most beautiful things you could put in your garden because we're too familiar with them. They're just so exciting. Over in England, you see wild foxglove and wild things, wild fuchsias, won't grow in Mississippi. But instead, we overlook our beauties because we think of them as being kind of rambly wild. What you do is you put these in groups and you kind of keep them in control. You weed them. You grow them as individual good garden plants. Instead of saying native wildflowers, I'm saying these are garden quality native plants and use as flowers instead of wild. Anyway, another picture number 4. I just want to show a picture that'll surprise a lot of folks. Java, you've probably seen a squirrel carcass covered with maggots and stuff. As soon as something dies, it gets covered with these flies, and then they grow these maggots, right, that eat all the meat up.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize those same flies are excellent pollinators. The adults, they're not the maggots. They actually eat pollen and nectar. And this is a picture of one of those old green bottle flies, the kind that lay eggs and turn into maggots, pollinating our native goldenrod. We just don't think of goldenrod as a pollinator plant. We don't think of flies as pollinators. But the fact is, if you've got some good plants out there, it's not just butterflies and bees and occasional hummingbird. There's all sorts of critters out there, including flies, that are real valuable pollinators. So, and then the last picture I want to show, and I'll get off this thing, picture number 5. Have you ever heard of a Yorkshire pudding by any chance?
No, I have not.
Well, a lot of people that say there's a real popular English dish called Yorkshire pudding, and you think it must be like banana pudding or something. No, all a Yorkshire pudding is here's a couple of them, a picture of. It's just biscuits that bread rolls that the center's falling in. It's like you took a biscuit and punched it down into a bowl. And what you do is you put it beside your roast beef and you fill it up with gravy.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say I don't see the pudding, but I see the gravy piece.
Pudding. What you do is you put it off to one side and you fill it up with gravy. It's their version of putting gravy on mashed potatoes, I guess. But anyway, it's just one of those stupid things. A lot of people have heard of unusual dishes from all over the world. But Yorkshire pudding is one that really like scones. What is a scone? It's just a biscuit with sugar. That's all. But anyway, I just want to throw that out. So, have we got any callers yet?
Yeah, let's bring things a little bit closer to home and go to the phones. Let's talk with Jerry, who's currently on the road.
Jerry, what's going
Hello,
on?
how we doing? All right. How are you?
Good. Doing fine.
I have
what you got going?
questions. 2 questions. First, I have some hydrangeas that are well over 6 feet tall, and it's kind of dominating that side of the house. When would be the best time to transplant that particular flower? And also, I have an area that I need to put some plants in. What could I plant this time of the year that will come back every year going forward?
Okay. First, did you say the shrub was a hydrangea?
Yeah, I have some hydrangeas that are over 6 feet tall, and I want to thin it out, so what would be the best time of the year to transplant that flower?
Well, you can prune it back now. You can cut all that growth, everything that grew there, so you can cut it back a third or halfway, and it'll bush out and make it a lot prettier, neater. It had plenty of time to bush out as long as you kind of get on the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. That'll buy you some time. Also, it'll be more compact and easier to wrestle around later. Best time is to move things in the fall or the winter after they started dropping their leaves. Because right now they need all the roots they can get. When you transplant, you leave the working roots, those wide ranging things behind. So what I would think about doing is when you get around to it, and not going to be easy, dig the hole you want it to go to so you can get it plenty wide. Maybe dig it 2 or 3 times over the next 3 or 4 months. Just take your time, make a nice big wide hole. Maybe cover it with some leaves or something. And then I would move the plant sometime November, December, January, February, sometime like it's easier on the bush and it's easier on you. I wouldn't move anything right now if you can help it. So that's that. Any questions about that?
That's fine. So, and what could I plant right now that I could guarantee will come back every year? Strawberry or whatever.
Well, you know, there's a lot of small shrubs, you know, you can put out there. A lot of people don't you know, they think about a bush being all alone, but you think about a combination of things. If you want to put some flowers out there like daylilies and another couple of months, some daffodils that bloom in the spring and hostas, there's all sorts of summer flowers, spring, summer, and fall flowers that'll come back every year. But also put in something like a little dwarf shrub or something to give you something to look at all year in that space that sort of makes a framework. Everything else sort of comes and goes. Otherwise, you're going to have time in that little spot that's not going to look very good. And also think about, I get to your question in a second. Also think about putting some kind of hard feature, a big rock, an old log, a bird bath, a group of pots with some flowers planted, but put something out there that's physical that you can see all year, a little shrub or two around it. That way you can plant stuff that comes and goes through all the different seasons. And what I would do is go around to older parts of town, country gardens, and see what's in bloom every month of the year. And then we can figure out what it is, plant some of that so that you have a little something every season because some of it comes and goes. Right now, you could put out just about anything if you can dig a wide hole and sort of loosen up the potting soil. But I would go to a garden center right now and look at things, see if they have any daylilies. Maybe if it's sunny, hostas won't do. What I would buy some time with some flowering annuals that'll just buy you time to a little bit better planting time. You could throw seeds of zinnias, just zinnia seeds, you throw them on top of dirt and wet them down, and you can have flowers right up until frost. And then by the time they die down, it'll be the time to start planting stuff for good without hurting you in the process. You can plant okra. People don't think of okra as a flowering plant, but it is a beautiful hibiscus. You could put 2 or 3 different go to a garden center, get 2 or 3 different kinds of okra, some cosmos, some zinnias, and just throw some seeds out there to buy you time to get you through this bad time of year. This is a bad time of year to be digging a lot and planting a lot. But some annuals will buy you a little bit of time for the rest of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's the start. Holler back anytime, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for calling, Jerry. Felder, we got to take a quick break, but we do have Jim on the line, Chico on the line, Laura on the line, so we want to make sure everybody oh, man, I made a mistake. I want to make sure everybody hangs on the line as we get ready to take this quick break.
All right, we'll be right back with more of the Gestalt Gardener. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Java Chapman, my awesome producer. Got John C. and Abram on the live stream. And Marissa taking your calls. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener. And I got a cheesy tune coming up. And also something that will really surprise you. It's a stupid non-gardening thing when we come back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve. Literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And I understand we've got some callers on the line. Let's go to Jackson and talk with Jim. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Good morning, Felder. Jim Rosen's out here with a question about air quality. I was recently in Chicago, and I went up on the top of the Sears Tower, now called the Willis Tower, and could not even see Lake Michigan. The smoke from those Ontario fires thickened the air and just reduced visibility. Would you just comment on how fortunate we are in Mississippi to have the air quality we do, and then tell us about the air quality you experience in England?
Well, Europe is having real bad wildfires too. I mean, it's serious in Spain and France, and there's some in the south of England. But anyway, we often take air quality for granted, Jim. And we can have wildfires here too that cause problems. Right now, our air quality is the humidity, and also we have one of the things you can do if you check out the Weather Channel or any of those kind of channels is look what the pollen count is every day. You can't always see all the stuff that's out there, but right about now they're going to start kicking up a lot of dust. If you're from the Delta, you know about dust clouds in the Delta plowing up all the dirt and all. But right now we do not have a lot of issue with air pollution. We're not having fires. I mean, I was in Los Angeles about 2 months or so ago, and that's just the smog, the combination of humid ocean air and the exhaust from cars and all, and it's sort of cooped up by the mountains that surround LA, so it looks like fog, but it's just mostly bad air pollution. Anyway, it is nice to go out and take a deep breath, but right now you got to choke on the humidity if you're not careful.
I would think that all our forests do a pretty good job of helping us do carbon exchange in this area.
Well, and also our number one agriculture product in Mississippi is forestry. And forestry is a huge carbon sump. It's just it's a real good air quality thing. So we're fortunate to live in mostly wooded. If you look at Mississippi from the air, except for the Delta, it's mostly woods out there, mostly woods. And that's a good thing because trees are excellent filters and air cleansers.
Well, I'm going to take a deep breath and listen to the rest of your show.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks for calling, Jim. Thank you. Now let's slide up to Lafayette County and Oxford and talk with Chico. Good morning, Chico. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, y'all. Felder, I've got two questions. One about the proper way to acknowledge and transport kudzu, and one about just regular yard art. On the kudzu, how do we acknowledge it? Is it a plant? Is it a vine? How do we refer to it?
Well, it is a plant. It's a vine-type plant. It's a perennial vine-type plant that dies down and comes back from the roots every year. But it is an Asian vine, subtropical Asian vine that was introduced. Odd enough, it was introduced as a yard plant, as a porch shade plant, and then the government started having people plant it along roadsides for erosion control, which is a mistake because our erosion happens in the winter when our winter rains, and kudzu is bare in the winter. But anyway, it took it from there. It spreads by seed as well as by runners. But it is a foreign plant. It's invasive to the point where it is a habitat buster. But seriously, it's not as bad as people think it is because of mostly it's around areas that are not well maintained by foresters or farmers. But it's a bad one.
Oh,
And by the way, all parts of it are edible. Chico, you can eat it. You can eat the leaves. You can eat the roots. You can make a little wreath
You don't think
out
I
of
know
the
that?
vine. Huh?
I believe me. I know that about being able to eat kudzu. I've even had recipes for it before.
Yeah.
But I got
It,
the transport.
it's blooming right now. It's starting to bloom right now. It's got like wisteria flowers that they smell like cheap grape bubble gum, and you can make the prettiest jelly with the flowers of kudzu. Anyway, what else you got?
Oh, we're talking some deep south dining now. Well, let me ask you. I got to transport some kudzu tomorrow from Lafayette County to East Tupelo. And is there any, you think it'll do, should I put it in a cooler because it's for a photo shoot and we need it to be, like it's flower in all its beauty?
Yeah.
Or will it wither by the time I get, I figure they got kudzu over there.
It does have big leaves going to wilt pretty fast. So, if you did have a cooler, or if you could put it in a plastic bag to keep the humidity high, or how much have you got to have? A whole lot, like to drape over something?
No, not a whole lot. Just some to lay by a plate with Johnny Burgers on it.
Just take the leaves and pieces of vines and put the leaves in some plastic bag and slip it in the refrigerator. Keep them in the refrigerator overnight. They'll hold up. Those in the flowers will hold up fine. But if you try to take whole lengths of vines, they're going to wilt. Just keep them cool.
Well, you see, the Kudzu Kings, the Oxford band, they're playing 2 nights in Tupelo, tonight and tomorrow night. And out there in East Tupelo at Johnny's Drive-In, they have a bust of Elvis. They have 2 busts of Elvis. And you can take a picture with your Johnny Burger and fries with the bust of Elvis. So what I'm going to do, since the Kudzu Kings are playing tomorrow night, I'm going to take some kudzu in there and take a picture of my Johnny Burgers with the bust of Elvis and the kudzu, and I'll have Kudzu Kings.
Yeah, I tell you something else you can do. You cut some of those vines and weave them into a little wreath. A little crown, and hang some kudzu flowers in them, and tuck a few of the small kudzu leaves in and put it on Elvis's head. There you go.
I might get kicked out of Tupelo if I do that, Felder.
Oh, Chico, I can't believe you got back down from a challenge.
Tonight, right? Tonight is sold out, and tomorrow night is almost sold out. So do you think the reason they're so popular is because people love kudzu so much in Mississippi?
It might just because they're a good band. Hello.
That might be it, too. Well, listen, their old van gave up the ghost about a month ago, and it got parked in my front yard, and my grass had been cut just before it was parked there, and yesterday it got to the point where I needed to cut it again so the little old ladies would stop side-eyeing me. And I noticed that even though the grass was all the same height when the van was parked there, the grass right next to the wheels and the tires was a lot higher. Why is that?
No idea. No idea, unless maybe dogs have been, on the tires.
Now, that's a possibility. That's a possibility right there. Well, I sure do appreciate it. You and Java both could see us in Tupelo tonight. There's still tickets available for the Kudzu Kings at Backline Music Hall.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling, Chico. Good luck on the kudzu, not wilting.
Chico out here doing Chico things, as always.
Chico,
Appreciate you, Chico.
And he, like little ladies ain't already talking about him. Let's slide back to Jackson and see what Laura's up to. Laura, thank you for holding on. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, pretty good. Chico about wore me out, though, to tell you the truth.
I'll be quick. I just have one question. I've had several a row of lantana plants that I've loved that have bloomed every year in my yard for about 20 years. And the last 2 seasons, they have not bloomed, and the leaves are they look scorched. Like the edges they're kind of yellow, and the edges are brown and crispy. And I looked it up. It said either lace bugs or some sort of mildew. I put neem oil on it, but I think I was too late. It was all the bushes have been affected. So I wanted to have your opinion on that.
And and this happens. I have three different kinds of lantana in my Jackson garden, and one of them gets it every year. I don't know if it'd be lace bugs. Lace bugs are they're pretty obvious. If you turn those leaves over, lace bugs they look like tiny little stink bugs. They're shield shaped, and you can it's the edge of their shell is almost clear. But if you look for tiny little black spots, they leave real distinct little black excrement spots. But it could also be spider mites. Spider mites get really, really bad this time of year. Mildew can be bad too because of humidity. And by the way, neem oil is a joke. Horticulturists all agree it is not a miracle thing. It does very little except maybe prevent a little bit of disease if you put it on ahead of time, and it may control a few soft-bodied insects, aphids, and maybe spider mites. But neem oil is not a miracle. It's overhyped. So if you have a problem with that, what I would do is I would cut the plants back first, because that gets rid of the problem. It gets rid of the disease or the insects. It stimulates some real fast new growth. Lantana is real fast to sprout back out. And that new growth is probably going to be a lot more vigorous, and it may bloom. And if you want to spray anything, wait till the new growth comes out pretty good to spray that to keep stuff from getting on it. And if you're spraying for insects or mice, you got to spray the underside of the leaves because that's where they are. But I cut them back a little bit. Don't water them. If we go 2 weeks and it's 100 degrees, give it a soaking. But lantana is pretty durable. So I just cut them back and see if that doesn't help kickstart some healthy new growth.
What would I do that every winter? And so the last 2 times it's grown back and been okay for a little while, but then it turns into the yellow crispy leaves again. What would you spray it with?
Well, I wouldn't spray lantana with anything because it's a pollinator plant. Well, to kill insects will kill pollinators. I mean, that's just a fact. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying cut it back like you do in the wintertime. Cut it back now to get rid of the bad stuff, and it also stimulates some new growth further down that'll come out strong and probably healthy. So sometimes if you got a lot of problems with the plant, cutting it back gets rid of the problem and stimulates some real strong, healthy new growth. So just think, cut some of it back and see what happens, because you cannot hurt a lantana by pruning it, even in the summer. And as far as what to spray, I don't know that I would. If the plant's not blooming, you can spray with, they have this stuff called spinosad. You can use a pyrethrin. Any of these natural insecticides are good if you get on the bottom of the leaves. But once they start blooming, let's don't spray because that's the pollinators.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a try. Thank you.
Good luck. Yeah, Java, this happens in my garden too. What I do is, I hate to say this because I'm a horticulturist, supposed to have a solution for everything. And my solution is sometimes just prune stuff back and forget about it. And if it keeps doing that, plant something else with it, take my mind off of it. And by the way, let's put up picture number 8 if we can. I'm seeing a lot of this. Picture number 8 is a zinnia that's got little round spots, and the outer edge of the spots are dark, the inside are gray. If you look at those really close, those little gray spots, they've got tiny little dots, and those are spores. And every time water hits one of those spots, it splashes spores, which sort of like seeds, and they start new spots. But we're seeing a lot of problems with leaf spot on zinnias, on hydrangeas. These kind of problems are caused by fungus splashing around and our rain, and then the hot, humid weather helps the fungus grow. For the most part, Java, these can be ignored. Usually doesn't hurt the plant. Just a lot of people have this, don't even notice it. It's not going to kill the plants. But if you want to do anything about it, keep in mind that we cannot cure diseases with sprays. The fungicide sprays are protective films you put over the plants parts that are not diseased. So like you put sunscreen on to keep from getting sunburn. Once you get sunburn, sunscreen doesn't help. So if you got a lot of problems with spots, you can pluck the bad leaves off if you want. You prune the plants back to get some new growth on them and spray the new growth with fungicide, or just ignore it. It's not going to kill your plants. You just call it spotted zinnia. And for the most part, the plants will do just fine. It's mostly more of a cosmetic thing than it is a real issue.
So what you're saying is throw your neem oil away.
Neem oil is, Java, there's so many myths out there. There's so many myths. I just don't even know where to get started about, banana peels and eggshells and neem oil and, so many things people want to believe is going to work. And it has a tiny little basis, tiny basis in actual fact, but it's blown all out of proportions. As a matter of fact, I after we come back from the cheesy tune, I'll show another classic one I got a picture of. But I think we probably need to jump in the cheesy tune thing right now, don't we?
Yeah, man. You send me two because we got the 2 hours. So which one we're going with first?
Well, I have one about it's called Summertime Blues, but let's do the other one. It's called, and this is from a group called the Merry Macs. A long time ago, they did a group called Dozie's Oats and Dozie's Dotes. Anyway, the Merry Macs sang this tune to just to lighten the mood a little bit. We're going to come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener, but this is called I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. Lighten up, folks. It's gardening, and we're going to talk about it when we come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. The Merry Macs and I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing and Java. I got me a little thing here. See what I got?
You got a flashlight, man. Why do you have a flashlight?
Because I want to see if anybody else can help me out here, especially folks who watch on the live stream. I'll throw out a challenge. I'm looking for people's favorite quintessential tool. Quintessential tool is something that it only does one thing, and usually you're the only moving part. And if you didn't have it, you'd have to invent it, sort of like a beer opener or that little scrubby thing in the sink. A skill, things that only do once. A garden hose only does one thing, but how do you garden without it? But I'm just curious if anybody wants to call or send in some notes from the live stream about your favorite. You're the only moving part garden tool that you just can't garden without. I just throw that out. Before the break, though, we were talking about leaf spots. Let's put up picture number 9. This is something that somebody from the Mississippi Gardening Facebook sent in. that they hadn't heard about this before. It looks creepy. It looks like a plant that's all wrapped up with webs. But if we can't zoom in on this, but these are tiny, tiny little webs of a tiny, almost can barely see, looks like a spider, but it's a mite. It's called a spider mite. And they feed on the bottom of leaves, and they weave little webs in there. And sometimes it gets so bad, it looks like the plant's completely wrapped up with spider webs. Spider mites are pretty bad this time of year. They're bad on potted plants. They're bad on tomatoes. They're bad on a lot of things. But Java, the thing I wanted to point out, though, this is on marigolds. And everybody's always talking about planting marigolds to repel pests in the garden.
That is correct.
They attract spider mites. This is marigolds completely eaten up by spider mites. And by the way, marigolds are also good pollinator plants. Butterflies visit them, especially the little flat single flower kinds. And there's at least a dozen and a half other insects that feed on marigolds. So my question is, if something gets spider mites this bad and attracts butterflies and other pollinators, how can it repel insects?
Yeah, the marigold is I don't know, would that be categorized as another one of those myths?
Yep.
Those widely spreaded myths.
They found out that people have there's a little microscopic worm-like thing called a nematode that lives in dirt, sandy soils particularly. It's a bad problem in Florida, a bad problem in some parts of Mississippi. But nematodes feed on plant roots, and they make the little knobby, knotty-looking roots. Root knot nematode is what it's called. Real big problem, even with soybean and cotton farms. But they found that marigolds have this oil in them, and if you grow them and then till them into the ground, they reduce nematode problems. If you grow them and till them into the ground. And that's where this myth that plant marigolds repel pests comes from. All from that one little fact that it'll help reduce nematodes in the soil. But people are going to swear by it. People are going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. People are going to say, I'm just, all Mr. Science and all like that. But the fact is, it doesn't hurt to plant marigolds in your garden unless you're worried about spider mites. Because there's not much you can do about spider mites. Just what my daughter Zoe has got a spider mite problem in a little greenhouse, and she's determined she's going to get rid of spider mites. She tried everything I could recommend, still got spider mites. I'm thinking, just plant some marigolds outside. Maybe that'll get the spider mites away from your good plants. I don't know. But
that's that study or that fact that you put out about the nematodes is enough for it just to go worldwide, marigolds repel pests. Marigolds repel pests.
Another big one right now is watering with banana peel water. You take banana peels, you boil them, and you steep them in water, and you fertilize your plants with the banana peel water. It's supposed to be a miracle thing, and it's just simply not true. Banana peels do have potassium in them. But not enough to make a difference. And if you look at the moist weight, they've got a certain amount of potassium. But when you dry it down into the actual potassium, there's practically immeasurable amount. It has an immeasurable amount of difference fertilizing plants. But because it's got potassium, people say you put it around your plants, they're going to be a lot better. It's just not true. But at the same time, John, I'm a banana eater. I like banana sandwiches. I like bananas in my cereal. I like raw bananas. I love bananas, and I toss the peels in my compost and let them become part of an overall fertilizer program. Nothing wrong with banana peels, but by themselves, it's like feeding your plants nothing but dried lettuce leaves.
That's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done.
I hate to be this way, Java, but you know what? A lot of people don't, they want to believe in this stuff, and I'm thinking, well, it doesn't hurt. Eat bananas, plant marigolds, we'll all get along. But to say it's going to cure stuff, nope, it doesn't.
Because like you said, somebody somewhere is seeing the kind of success that will be like, Felder, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Java, seriously, if you go online, if you Google banana peels and plants, 19 out of 20 articles that say all the benefits of using banana peels. They all say that. But if you Google instead, put banana peel fertilizer hoax, you'll come up with science sites where real gardeners, hardcore gardeners who are real researchers, have done all these studies, and they'll tell you the truth about it. doesn't do any good at all. So most of the time when they say use eggshells, banana peels, or coffee grounds, whatever, everything you read is going to be positive about it because they're repeating each other. That's how myths get started. They sound good and they get repeated. So anyway, you got to dig deep to find out. And anybody who wants to learn about something they're not sure about, Epsom salts, eggshells, anything like that, do a word search for eggshells fertilizer hoax. And that's the key, because real scientists who are also real gardeners research this stuff with comparison trials, and they do the analysis of leaf tissue. They do all this kind of stuff, and they'll say why it's recommended and also why it doesn't work. So just want to throw that out. As part of my job, I think, is to hold the line against garden myths, and at the same time, doesn't hurt to do it at all.
I think we may have invented a new segment, Felder. It's like, who you going to call? Mythbusters.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. Don't we got a call yet?
Not yet. I think they're all waiting for hour number 2. But I do want to encourage people to drop some comments or questions in the YouTube chat. You can get to the phone, or you can use the email garden@mpbonline.org. I actually want to say good morning to Rita, who's checking in from Olive Branch, Pamela from Harleston, and my lady, a beautiful lady, Crystal. She's checking in on the YouTube chat.
Hey, Crystal, how you doing? I got something really, really, really weird to share next hour. But Java, let me show something I did just today. If we could look at the pictures real quick. I got 4 of them. Picture number 13, if they can put that up. This is a picture, I think I've shown this before, of a potted plant I grow here. It's called a Dracaena, ribbon Dracaena. And it's a real nice tropical plant. It's easy to grow, loves low light, low humidity. It's a good indoor plant that doesn't have any real problems. But I set it outside a month ago to water it. It was so heavy with water, I decided to leave it out for a few days, right, to get some sunshine. Let's put up picture number 14. And this is a close-up of what happened. I burned it.
I was going to say, oh, yeah, no, it got scorched.
I mean, it got scorched on the man. And we're talking about the guy that wrote the book screwed up his own plant. I put it out there to water. I'll bring it in later. And it got sunburned. But picture number 15 will show you how I'm dealing with it. Picture number 15.
Yeah, that was just about to be my question. What did you do? You cut it back.
I mean, I cut it back. And see, look, I've even got some of the things here I cut off. And I'm gonna actually root these things. I'm gonna, you strip the leaves off, and they'll do okay. I'm just strip some of these bottom leaves off and stick it in some potting soil and get me some new plants. But I cut it back, got rid of the bad looking stuff. New stuff's gonna come out just fine. It's all gonna be good.
It's just like what you was talking about earlier. Like you just sometimes, all the neem oils and stuff and different sprays or whatever, just cut it back.
Yep, that's all I did. But let me show. Let's show one more picture if we could. Picture number 16. This is just the cuttings I got. I mean, I cut this plant back. It's going to put out new growth. Matter of fact, within the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to show you, I'm going to use it before and after. But these are the cuttings that I clipped off that fell on the ground. And I'm going to take those and root and have a whole bunch to give away. So cutting a plant benefits. It gets rid of the bad stuff. It stimulates new growth. And a lot of times it gives you new plants to share. So
all right,
there.
All right, Felder, we do have a phone call coming in, and they want to talk about bananas. So let's go to Brian,
okay.
Brian and Brandon as we close out this first hour.
Hey, Brian, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning. An interesting fact related to bananas I thought you might like. I'm a beekeeper, and one of the ways that bees communicate is through pheromones. And one of the pheromones that they produce sends a danger signal through the hive. So like when you go out and bump the hive or open it up, they'll produce this pheromone that sends a signal through the hive that says, hey, we're under attack. And it's
their version of tornado siren.
Yeah, it smells like bananas. And that's why we use a smoker when we go into the hive. It's, a lot of people think that the smoke calms them down, but it doesn't do that directly. What it does is it covers up that banana pheromone smell so that they just go back to being calm.
Okay. So if you want to really irritate bees, hang some banana peels on your shirt when you're out in the garden. But that's interesting. I wondered how the smoke calmed them down, because I mean I've had a hive before. My brother had hives, and his smoker just really calmed him down. But it just gets rid of it's like putting your fingers in the ear when the sirens go off. You can't hear them. You're not worried about the tornado.
Right. Old beekeepers will tell you don't eat bananas and go to the bee yard. I don't know if that's true.
That makes a lot of sense. But their pheromone is similar chemically to banana peel, to the scent of banana peel. Interesting.
Anyway, love your show. Love listening to it. I learn something new every time I listen. Thank you.
Well, so do we. Thank you for sharing that. That's the reason we call it Think Radio. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Brandon. That's funny. He said old beekeepers say don't eat a banana and go to the beehive. They'll be in a constant state of frenzy.
Yeah. That's a little. We learned so many. I'm not gonna say weird stuff, but sometimes it seems kind of weird. It's very unusual. I appreciate that. Anyway, in a couple of 3 weeks, I'm gonna show a before picture. The picture I just showed of my Dracaena has been cut back, and a little close-up of the new growth as it sprouts back out. I'm predicting it's going to do just right. So anyway, we've run through an hour. We've talked to a few people. I've kicked around some ideas. We've joked around a little bit. And I've got at least an hour's worth of the rest to come to bring on. Folks, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Me and Java here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. This is one of many locally produced live programs when you can talk with experts in the field in your part of the country. So we're going to take a little break and do some news and come back with hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Folks, stick with us, and we'll come right back.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Okay, folks, welcome back to this hour 2 of Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Me and Java Chapman and the live stream producers and all the other folks at Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we welcome you. It's a call-in program. It's live. If you got some, and we're talking about gardening in the South, particularly in Mississippi, but gardening is pretty much the same anywhere. So give us a call. I speak Michigan and California too. But anyway, give us a call, 1-877-MPB ring, and then we'll yak with you. So we had kind of a erratic first hour talking about everything from how to transport kudzu leaves without them drooping to everything else. So if there's some things on your mind, give us a call. We'll talk about it. So Java, you said, does Chris really tune in and listen to this thing?
Yeah, she tunes in on the YouTube, and her and Java, they usually like put it on the big TV. That's the thing about YouTube, you know, that you can watch it on the television. So yeah.
Yeah. So and matter of fact, it is live stream, and I've got some pictures that show some unusual things. But if you've got anything on your mind, give us a call. Would like to mention this is sort of this coming up next week, this weekend and next weekend, maybe after that, is sort of the last call for planting summer stuff for fall harvest. I'm talking about tomatoes, peppers, squash, things like that. Things that we normally think of as planted in the spring for summer harvest can still be planted in Mississippi even the first week or so in August and get a good harvest, sometimes a superior harvest in the fall, because the plants grow really well in the hot weather, small plants. If you can keep them mulched, put some mulch around to keep the ground shaded and cool and moist and from crusting over. Give them a good deep soaking a couple of times a week, maybe at first, then maybe once a week, but a good deep soaking every now and then. And the plants will grow sturdy and stocky, and then they'll start flowering and fruiting up in September, October, November, like nothing you've seen in the summertime. You can get more peppers off of a pepper plant set out right now that you can from a pepper plant that's set out in the spring that's dropping off its flowers and fruit in this heat. So anyway, I did check around some garden centers. I made some calls around yesterday and today, and not many have a lot of summer stuff left. They've pretty well given up on selling tomatoes and peppers, but some of them have some plants. If you could find any place that got little small pepper plants, tomato plants, squash seeds, cucumber seeds, you can go ahead and plant those. Mulch, keep them moist but not wet, and they'll produce really, really well. We'll start talking after next week about planting cool weather stuff like broccoli and cauliflower and kale and lettuce and chard and turnips and all that kind of stuff. A little bit early for that, but you can do it, but it's going to be rough on them. Anyway, we're going to be talking about growing stuff to eat every week here on MPB, because that's what we do. We ought to have the Deep South Dining folks on here talking about all the ways that we can grow stuff right out of the garden, maybe foraging, stuff you can eat from the yard. Speaking of, give us a call. It's toll free 1-877 MPB ring.
Speaking of, well, I was going to ask. Speaking of Deep South Dining, I had a question come across my brain. That sounded funny, but when do we plant garlic?
Oh, I plant garlic every year. Garlic is, matter of fact, I planted, one year I planted 7 different kinds. Some are really hot and zesty. Some are mild. You can eat them raw or roll around with garlic and saute them. But garlic grows over the winter. It's best to plant it in, I'm going to say October. November is fine.
Late. Okay,
December, yeah. But if you can plant the garlic cloves in October, the plants get a little bit more of a head start, and they'll be make a little bit bigger cloves and bulbs the next spring. But I say October, November are the ideal time. And by the way, you can grow garlic in a flower bed. It has a huge, the elephant garlic has got a really pretty flower. You can grow garlic in pots. Put them where they're 4 or 5 inches apart in pots, and they grow all winter long. Put garlic in a pot with some pansies, and you got something that looks good. And the next spring, just when the garlic starts to die down, you're ready to plant something else in the pot, dump it out, and you've got garlic. And then you can replant the summer stuff in the pot. Now, I went on too much about that, Java. October, November, to answer your question.
Yeah, no, it's just, it was one of those things I knew. I guess it wasn't a summer thing. It was so in the late fall or early fall. This is early fall, October, yeah.
Yeah, garlic and onions and chives, they don't have very deep roots. It's really important to give them a little bit of fertilizer, just a little bit, not too much, 2 or 3 times, because the fertilizer washes away from the roots. But a little bit of fertilizer around the plants when you plant them or after they sprout, and then a couple of more times they'll do fine. One of the easiest plants to grow. And I don't care how hungry you get, even if you don't like garlic. Garlic will make anything taste good if you're hungry enough. Speaking of which, we don't have a call yet, do we?
No, but we do have an email that came through.
Well, let's do that, and then we can come back with a speaking of which type of thing.
Okay, it says, "Hi, Felder. I have noticed, let's see. Oh, I've noticed the azalea bushes around my father's yard, some young, some old, to be slowly fading in various degrees. Large dying branches have to be pruned almost every season, and many of them to share a common problem of the bark seeming to be cut in appearance. Sometimes when we get into pruning these dead branches, some that look identically dead will indeed have green growth underneath. I've also noticed a coppery sheen to some of these old leaves before new good leaves appear. And she actually sent in a photo. I need to get that to you. Any idea what could cause this? He generally has good luck with other plants, though I don't always agree with his choice of herbicide he uses.
Yeah, well, you talking about me or somebody in her family?
No, her dad. This is
her dad. Yeah. A lot of herbicides. A lot of the old herbicides are really, really bad, and they've been mostly done away with now. And some that have got a bad reputation are not bad at all if you use them carefully. We're not talking about agriculture overuse. But anyway, without seeing a picture, I can only make a couple of educated guesses. First of all, the bronzy-looking leaves.
Yeah.
There is a real common insect called lacebug. We talked about that earlier, but lacebug and spider mice both suck sap out of the bottom of the leaves. As you turn some of the leaves over, you can see tiny little, just like making a period with an ink pen, tiny little black spots, and that's the excrement from lacebug. And they suck sap from the bottom of the leaves, and the top of the leaves look kind of bronzy or stippled looking. It's real common, especially azaleas that grow in the sunshine. Not going to kill the plants, not going to kill them. More azaleas have this than people notice, but it's too late to do much about it this year. As far as the branches dying, azaleas and old oaks and pecans, they've got a finite life. You know, they can grow for many, many years, but if for some reason they don't have a really big root system, or they may be up close to the house, or they're in compacted soil, they get root damage, and slowly over years, sometimes decades, the top gets bigger than the roots can handle, and it's a gradual thing. And all of a sudden they'll reach a point where the roots say, I just can't keep up, and the branches say, well, heck with it, I'm out of here. So you lose whole plants just suddenly browning out from root damage that's happened over maybe years. Also, they just get old. You know, old oak trees drop their old limbs. So pruning dead stuff out of older azaleas is kind of routine. Here's something you can do, though. You can cut these plants back. Too late this year. You can cut old azaleas. I'm talking about 6 feet tall to just 2 feet tall after they bloom in the spring. They'll sprout out all new growth, and you can snip the tips off that new growth, and it will bush out, and you'll have like a brand new plant that has more roots than it really needs all of a sudden. This is called rejuvenation. Hard to do that. It's late to do that this year, but rejuvenating old shrubs, even azaleas, works like Monell Hayward, who started Monell Gardens in Jackson. She had me pruning big azaleas like that. I was sure she was going to kill them, but nope, they came back fine. As far as the bark, azaleas tend to get split bark if we have a sudden hard freeze, particularly down close to the ground. And they still may be green under the bark, but they're not able to keep up enough nutrients and water through the split area. And as a new growth continues to develop, it can overwhelm the plant's ability to keep it supplied with moisture. So in most cases, they're starting to brown out. Hard pruning is almost always going to help. I'd wait till next year, though.
Okay. Well, I think that helped out. Felder, let's take our first break of this hour, and we can reset after the break.
Okay, and when we come back, I got a really stupid thing to share, some of my pup talk. But we want some phone calls, so give us a call. It's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. Let's reach it here, folks. Not just hear me talk in Java and trying to encourage Java to take Crystal to a Hutto's or someplace this weekend and get some tomatoes and pepper plants to put out. I mean, come on.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Got to keep, don't have to go whole hog, or maybe you just go by and get some so she doesn't get other stuff. But it is a good time to plant summer stuff. And some of the garden centers, I talked to the folks at Hutto's this morning, they got some. So we'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener. Hopefully your phone calls right after this.
Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okay, folks, welcome back. We got some calls coming in, but Java, while we're waiting for Marissa to line those up, let me share some pub talk we had this past week. I go to this local pub, and what did we talk about? We talk about all sorts of stuff: shooting the breeze, chewing the fat, chin wagging, as they call it. Little mysteries that give us the courage to solve bigger problems. Anyway, an elementary school teacher who's one of our group was talking about having kids sprout carrot tops in dishes of water. Did y'all ever do that, Java?
See, one more. Oh, you talking about clean? You said clean them up?
No, you cut the top off a carrot, before you cook it, and you put the top in a little shallow water and it sprouts out. It'll grow little carrots, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it won't grow actual carrots, it'll grow carrot top. Anyway, that led to carrots, which led talking about rabbits not actually eating carrots. Rabbits will eat carrots, but the carrots have got a lot of sugar in them, which is not good for rabbits. You got pet rabbits, you should not feed them a lot of carrots, except an occasional treat, because it'll upset their system. But anyway, too much natural sugar. But that led to Bugs Bunny about, does a Bugs Bunny eat carrots? And let's put up picture number 6 while we're talking about this. But they said Bugs Bunny eats carrots. Everybody knows that. And I did a little research and come to find out his carrot eating persona, Java, this is crazy stuff, actually came from a 1934 Clark Gable movie. It was called It Happened One Night, right? And the character was played by Clark Gable, was leaning against a fence, chomping away on a carrot. It had sort of a devil-may-care attitude. Does that sound familiar? Animation historians consider that a Bugs Bunny movie called A Wild Hare, introduced in 1940, as the first ever official Bugs Bunny cartoon, right? And the Wascally Wabbit chewing on a carrot with a wise-ass attitude, with that "What's up, Doc?" was a parody of Clark Gable eating a carrot and fast talking.
I just looked it up. Yes, this is strange, but true.
put up picture number 7, Wascally Wabbit. Clark Gable was just a wisecracking guy and munching on a carrot, and they paired him in this original Bugs Bunny thing, and that stuck. Isn't that some stupid stuff to know? That is.
You have really educated me this morning, Felder, because I wouldn't have never put that together. I just thought he was a bunny. He ate ate carrots, and that's the end of it.
No, well, apparently people, actually the Bugs Bunny thing in 1940 actually won an Oscar for Best Animated Short. It won an Oscar, the very first ever Bugs Bunny thing, but it was based on an Oscar-winning 1935 movie. So a lot of people would have immediately connected the Clark Gable thing with the sort of the bad attitude rabbit, fast talking. Please tell me there's a caller.
Yeah, but that was interesting, man. Let's go to the phones. Let's get to Greg in Columbus.
Good morning, Greg. How are you today?
I'm all right. How y'all doing?
So far, so good, man. So far, so good.
Hey, look, probably about 3 years ago, I called up, was talking about my peach tree. It looked like it was healthy, got the leaves and everything on. You told me to plant another peach tree besides so it can produce. But this time, I usually cut my grass like 2 inches. But this time, I cut it down some. I saw a vine coming from the back of the fence where all this little vegetation vines at. So it was like 27 of them things wrapped around that peach tree.
Yeah.
And when I left there was glued to it, stuck to it. So I went on and killed them and cut it up. And hopefully, sometimes next season, man, maybe it might do something. But it was like, I should have took a picture of it, but I didn't. I mean, they were really they was attached to the tree itself. That's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of vines. Some vines they like tomatoes. They just wrap around stuff. Some have little tendrils that like little hairs that wrap around stuff. But some actually have sort of like they're sort of like little aerial rootlets. Ivy will do this. Put it up against a brick wall and grow little short roots into the bricks. And there's quite a few that do that. Well, this was a green plant. It had leaves though, right? It didn't look like just orange spaghetti or anything. Regular green vine, huh?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a lot of them coming from the back fence. They just wrapped itself around the peach tree.
Yeah. One of the things, if it happens again, if you'll just keep it cut, you don't have to pull it out of the plant. If you'll just cut it off, the stuff above there will die and gradually just shed off if it's just too much trouble to do that. But you definitely need to make it where you can keep it clear around the base of the tree. By the way, if you hit that tree with a lawnmower or the weed eater one time, it can kill it. It girdles that tender bark, real easy damage by a string trimmer or mower. So if you need to put some bricks or rocks or a little pile of mulch or something around to keep the vines from growing up against the trunk, all you gotta do is just whack it every now and then. That'll fix it.
It gotta work, man. I appreciate y'all. Listen to y'all all the time, man.
Well, hey, let me give you a little, in case you don't have enough to do this hot. Did you prune the plant when you put it out?
Oh, say that again.
Did you prune the tree back when you put it out, or just stick it in the ground?
Oh, yeah, I do. I prune it back. He like want to grow some more limbs, and I just cut it back so he won't do it.
Yeah, well, if you'll go out there sometime, when it's cool, with some snippers, and any kind of branches or twigs are growing inward. You want to leave stuff going up and out, sort of like an open bowl. If you got branches and limbs are growing in towards the middle of the tree, just cut those off without leaving any kind of stubs, and leave the stuff that's growing out. Then that'll keep it from getting all cluttered. The plant actually, what's left will grow better. So just thin out some of the inner stuff without leaving stubs.
Okay, all right, that'll work. I appreciate y'all, man.
And you're going to call us when it's peach cobbler time, aren't you?
Say that again.
Well, you're going to call us when time for some peach cobbler.
Oh yeah, no doubt on that. I'm going to tell you something. What you call those little crunchy pies you get from the corner?
Oh yeah, fried pies?
Funnel cakes.
Funnel cake, okay.
Yeah, I get those peaches real sweet and put me a few of them, man, on that funnel cake, and my tooth start aching, but I still do it.
Okay, Java, be sure to get his number, okay?
Oh, yeah, no, Greg, we appreciate you, man. The peaches on a funnel cake, ooh, let them be a little warm, too. Man, see, we doing too much this morning.
By the way, Java, I got a comment. I put that thing about the Bugs Bunny and Clark Gable on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook, and almost immediately I got a comment from Jenny Boyer. She said, I had a cottontail rabbit I called Peter that would eat the carrots. I tossed them. Well, that's back in Colorado. Here they prefer my grass. So if you got pet rabbits, don't give them a bunch of carrots. They're not good for them.
Now let's go back to the phones and talk with Ron in Jackson. Wants to talk about crepe myrtles.
Morning, Ron. What's up?
I was wanting to make sure it wasn't too late to apply that systemic insecticide
for the crepe myrtle bark scale. It's past a recommended date, but it wouldn't hurt to put it out now if you use a lot of water, because this stuff has got to be absorbed by roots and moved up into the plant to really work. And if it's hot and dry, the plants aren't moving much water. So if you water the plant really, really well right before you put this stuff out, and then come back a couple of days later and water it again really well, that'll get the roots going again and help the plant pull it up into the tree. It doesn't hurt to put it out now, and it'll actually help next year, because this stuff will last a year or two or maybe 3. But if you want it to work this year, you need to get it up in the tree, and that means some water.
I appreciate it.
Okay, good luck on it. Java, he's talking about an insect called crepe myrtle bark scale. I think I was the first one to identify it in the Jackson area some years ago. New insect, gets on the twigs of crepe myrtles and a few other plants. And it sucks a lot of sap, tiny little white bumps, little bitty tiny white bumps. If you mash them, they mash because they're little bugs. They don't crawl around. But as they suck sap, they also drip a lot of sugary sap, their excrement, onto the trees and turn them completely black and sticky and all. It'll even turn a pink flamingo under pink. But they're pretty bad, crepe myrtle bark scale. Only control is use a systemic insecticide. There are no natural controls. Spraying them, pressure washing, that stuff is just a bunch of hooey. Only thing that we know for a fact works on crepe myrtle bark scale is a systemic insecticide. And it's a little bit late for that unless you water.
Well, let's keep talking about crepe myrtles. Let's go down to the coast and talk with Steve in Gaucher.
Morning, Steve. What's up?
Hey, I've been wanting to say something every time you talk about crepe myrtles. It reminds me of what my dad used to do. He was born in 1925 and with 16 brothers and sisters. And they didn't know anything about toothbrush or toothpaste or whatever. He'd go out first. Let me back up. Is there a difference between a crepe myrtle and a wild myrtle that I knew about those before I knew what crepe myrtles? Is there much difference in them?
Well, myrtle is sort of a generic plant. A lot of plants are called wax myrtle. Is a native plant to South Mississippi or Central Mississippi. Anyway, wax myrtle is a native, but it doesn't have the pretty flowers of a crepe myrtle. But a lot of different plants are called myrtle. You know, that's I'd have to look up, see why it is, but you know, across the English-speaking world, there's quite a few plants called myrtle. I'll find out what that is. But crepe myrtles are always going to be the ones with those big poofy-looking clusters of flowers, sort of crepey-looking flowers. But anyway, we do have a wax myrtle, which is a native plant. It doesn't have the flowers like the crepe myrtle, though.
Yeah, I'll probably still recognize them, but like I said before, 1975, I'm almost 80. But I remember what he used to do is when I was a kid, they'd go cut off a stem by the thickness of your finger, okay? They call them myrtles, all called back then. And take the skin, the bark off one end of it, and take the knife and chop it on the top, that becomes real soft. He used that for a toothbrush. That's all he ever used his whole life, and died with no cavities.
Okay, there are several plants that when I was in a Boy Scout I learned those. I've forgotten the names of all of them, but there are some that you could use as a toothbrush. There's one that actually you could use for toothaches. But anyway, I just looked up the word myrtle. Myrtle comes from a Greek tree, a medieval tree that a lot of plants ended up being called myrtles because they look sort of like the wild myrtle of Greece and all. Anyway, but the toothbrush, I forgot. If somebody's listening who knows about the plant the native plant we use for toothbrushes, give us a call. Let us know about that. But anyway, you were raised right, man, by country folks who knew how to make do and get by.
Oh man, I appreciate all this information. I'll be listening as always. Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you chiming in. Thanks a bunch. And we're going to see if anybody calls in and helps us out with the toothbrush plant. I can't remember the name of it.
Now, Felder, you made comment of this earlier. I am a city guy, but I'm also a Mississippi boy. But I've never heard about the toothbrushing with the plants, man.
Oh, we didn't have toothbrushes, 100 years ago, or not like we know of. But there's certain plants, and one in particular, you take the twigs and you sort of fuzz it out, and you just brush your teeth with it.
Yeah, get the dirt and grime off of it.
Yep. Let's see if anybody could call up and help us out with that, because I forgot all about that. And there's one that has a sort of a deadening effect, and you could use it for toothaches. But that's a whole different story.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take our Cheesy Tune break. We do got some more calls coming in. 1-877-MPB Ring, 1-877-672-7464. Even got a couple of questions on YouTube to get to. But what's this Dog Days Cheesy Tune you got for me?
This is called Summertime Blues, and it's sung by a country song, a guy named Wayne Hancock. And if you never heard of, he sounds just like Hank Williams, the original Hank Williams Sr. He's got that old country twang and all, but he has this wonderful tune, Wayne Hancock, called Summertime Blues. It is absolutely worth searching. If you don't hear it on the rebroadcast, check out Summertime Blues by Wayne Hancock. Me and Java and all the other folks here, Abram, John C., Marissa, MPB, we're glad you joined us. We'll be back with more of the phone calls and email stuff right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All righty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And Java, I want to remind folks, if you're not watching on YouTube or mpbonline.org, the live stream, the picture behind me I took at a garden in York, England. Lancashire and Yorkshire cover the whole top, big part of the north of England. In Yorkshire garden, in their main perennial border where they had all their summer flowers in full bloom, they used mostly Mississippi native plants, asters, goldenrod, phlox, obedience plant, what some people call physostesia. Incredible plants from north of, just to grow all over Mississippi. They use them in formal garden. That's what my background screen is here. Anyway, somebody called up on YouTube and said that they use whole cloves as toothbrushes back when they were young. I guess they must have been able to afford clothes or something. Anyway, let's go to Oxford and see what Mary's up to. Mary, thank you for calling.
Good morning. You're welcome.
What's up?
Pardon me?
Hello, you're on the air. What can we help you with?
Oh, I was going to help you. You mentioned that there was a plant that was used for toothbrushes.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the Asheville, North Carolina area, and my grandmother told me that the Indians used sassafras, if I recall that correctly.
Yeah, that would work. That would work. Sassafras is a good native plant, too. You make root beer out of the roots. But that would be a good one because it needs to have the kind of twigs that kind of fur out a little bit, and you can use them to scrape your teeth with. But that's a good one.
Okay. Well, I enjoy your program.
Well, thank you for chiming in. Appreciate that. Okay, sassafras. We're looking for native plants that were used, the twigs for toothbrushes. By the way, Job, I got the song wrong. Wayne Hancock. It was Dog Day Blues, not Summer Blues. So Dog Day Blues. If you're not familiar with it, it's a good one. It'll make you smile. It'll make you want to sit out on the porch swing a little bit.
Well, let's go back to the phone, and we got another toothbrush comment. This is Ginger in Meridian.
Good morning, Ginger. What you got?
Hey, well, my parents, my dad's born like 29, I think, and Mom in 35. And when I was little, I remember they would take a sweet gum branch or a little twig, and my dad would take a knife to it, and they would brush their teeth with it when we were out camping or something. Us kids were like, what? Okay, what are you doing?
As a matter of fact, I think that's actually the one that I remember. By the way, you know why it's called sweet gum?
Nope.
The sap, everybody knows about maple syrup. You tap into the sap of a maple tree and you make syrup out of it. Well, you do the same thing with sweet gum. It's got sweet, sugary sap. And there's a native vine, a type of smilax with black berries. They call it stretch berry. You could chew it like chewing gum, and you put stretch berry and sweet gum sap together and make chewing gum.
Okay.
But and when you're done, you can brush your teeth with it.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing they were telling us kids, and we were like, okay, you both kind of crazy, but whatever.
was not crazy at all. It's called making do. Making do. But appreciate that. Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Oh, we appreciate you, Ginger, for tuning in. And the sweet gum. So that's the one that you couldn't recall, but that's the one you kind of remember.
Yeah, I remember it now. There may be some others, but I definitely remember the sweet gum. The twigs, and you may have a sweet gum tree in your yard, Job. They got star-shaped leaves. They got those spiny seed balls.
No, we don't have one because I know about the little sticky balls. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the sap is sweet, just not as sweet as maple syrup, but almost as sweet. So who we got? We got a caller?
Yeah, let's go back to the coast and talk with Joe in Bay St. Louis.
Morning, Joe. How are you today? Staying cool, I hope?
It's terrible. It's hot, but anyway, we're surviving. I just had a quick question about a miniature gardenia.
Mm-hmm.
It bloomed in the spring. It had just it looked like millions of blooms all over it, like it's supposed to, and then it quit. And then I thought, okay, Felder has said to wait till flowers like that quit blooming before you trim them. And then in early July, it started having like one more bloom or two or three. Are they supposed to bloom twice? And if so, it has just stopped blooming again. So when should I cut it back?
It's a good question. Gardenias, like a lot of the ever-blooming roses, some of the older ones, they have a big flush in the spring, late spring, maybe even early summer, and then sort of spritz along after that. But you can get them to rebloom, no problem. If you prune it a little bit now, pruning does not only stimulates new growth and makes it nice and thick, but it shocks a plant. A lot of people don't realize that plants are running on hormones just like people are. And there's one that suppresses new growth that's produced in the tips of the branches. When you prune it, gets rid of that hormone, the plants branch out, but also by sort of roughing the plant up a little bit, it releases a hormone called chromatin, which kicks the plant into blooming. See, so pruning a little bit, not a lot, pruning a little bit right now could actually stimulate not only new growth, but maybe a nice even flush of flowers a little bit later.
Okay, so I shouldn't cut it all the way back more as much as like azaleas later.
No. The hard pruning on things like azaleas, of course, you do that after they get through blooming, or roses in the wintertime. Stuff that bloom in the summer, you prune them in the winter. Things that bloom in the spring, you wait till after they're blooming. But summer pruning is lighter pruning. You can take a rose that's cut really hard in the winter. In the middle of the summer, late summer, you can prune it back a little bit and it'll put on strong new flowering growth again. It keeps it from getting long and leggy. You do that with gardenias too.
Okay, so gardenias, it's okay. It's not too weird that they started blooming the second time?
No. I would expect them to. Matter of fact, I thought they'd actually bloom more than just one or two. But, if you do a little light pruning, the cuttings, if you take cuttings of those that are 3 or 4 or 5 inches long, you strip off all but 2 or 3 leaves, they will root in water in 2 weeks.
Wow, that's exciting.
Maybe you got some friends or a garden club or a church group or something like that can root some little cuttings and share with everybody.
Wonderful. That's great advice. Thank you so much. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Appreciate that. Java, a couple of weeks, about a month ago, I had a basil plant, African blue basil, and I cut it back really, really hard and rooted some of the cuttings.
Yeah, I remember that.
If we could put up picture number 11 real quick, just this one picture. Picture number 11, the plant I cut back to just about 3 inches tall is completely bushed out. It's got lots of new flowering growth on it. And see, I got 3 pots, and each of those pots have got 2 little basil plants already growing, starting to bloom, that I rooted from cuttings just a month ago. Just
Very
want to show
nice.
that,
Very
rooting stuff
nice.
like coleus and gardenias and basil, you could, and even tomatoes, you could root suckers of tomatoes and put them out for fall harvest. Just something to do.
Nah, that's very nice, man.
How are we looking on calls?
Well, we got somebody getting lined up now, but I wanted to jump over back to YouTube because we had a couple questions jump in there. And this is from Rachel, and she says, "Hey, Felder and Java, please remind us how, well, not so much me, but Felder, please remind us how to, how much and how often to water St. Augustine grass in Madison County, especially during these hot days."
Okay, that's an easy one to answer, but it's not an easy answer to hear. I studied turf management at Mississippi State. I went to the Scotts Lawn Institute. I've been working with lawn care for half a century, and I know for a fact that they don't water their grass at all in cemeteries, around schools or churches, and older parts of town. Their grass survives. But the grass needs water, a good soaking, about once a month, because it replaces itself with new growth. And if it goes a month, it can't replace it, and it thins out. So a good deep soaking at least once a month. Every 3 or 4 weeks is great. Every couple of weeks is better, but if you're watering more than once a week, that is not good for the grass. It's waste of water. It causes grass roots to stay shallow and the grass more sensitive to stuff. So a good deep soaking at the most once every week or 2, but at least every 3 or 4 weeks. That's all the grass needs, but really put it down. And it helps when you water to water twice, about 30 minutes or an hour between water until water starts to stand or run off in the curb. Shut the water off, let it soak in, come back 30 minutes or an hour later and water a second time, and that pushes that first watering down deep. And that grass can go easy 2-3 weeks without even knowing it needs water. But at least once a month, never more than every week or 2. Ever. Anybody's got an irrigation system, if you're using it more than once a week, I'm telling you, it's counterintuitive, and it's guess what? Everything all turf experts agree. Once every week or 2. If you got a sprinkler system and you want to use it 3 times a week, use it 3 times a week, but an hour apart, and then leave it off for a week. That's the way to use irrigation, to deliver water, not to make you feel better just looking at it. So anyway, good soaking every 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Ideal. And mow high.
I think you were spot on. I think you were spot on with that. As far as that's an easy answer, but it'd be hard to hear.
Java, you ride around. You live in a nice neighborhood. I live in an older neighborhood, but not nice. And you ride around. Not many people watering the grass. It looks okay. So if I say you got to water every week, they call me an idiot. If I say you never have to water, they say I'm an idiot. So the truth is, what does the grass want? Good soaking every couple of 3 weeks or so. Good soaking. That's what the grass wants.
Now we do have another question from the YouTube, and this comes from Dean. It's kind of a mathematical question. Is there a formula to approximate the age of a hardwood tree by measuring circumference of the tree?
No, that's a good idea, but nope. The only way to do it is to measure the rings. Each of those rings represents a year's growth. And the only way to do that is there's a tool that foresters have. It's a core sampler. It drills straight into the tree and pulls out a core, and you can actually count the rings there. But because on a moist year, the rings are further apart. On dry, you can actually tell when there are drought periods because the rings of old trees are really, really close together. And when they're further spaced apart is when you had a lot of good weather. So, the amount of rainfall determines how far apart those rings, the circumference of a tree. Good idea, though, but nope.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be some kind of magic trick because, even in elementary school, you learn the way to count the age of a tree is by just counting those rings.
By the way, this is an oddball thing. It's a little edgy, but I learned this. You know how to tell the backside of a tree, Java?
No, go tell me.
You're going to fire me for this. You walk all the way around it, and on the backside is where the Boy Scout went to the bathroom. Of course.
That's a good one. It's a
little edgy for a Friday morning, but there, I said it.
Nice and simple. But let's go back. Let's go back to the phones.
Look, Java, I blushed. Okay.
Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Homer in Clarksdale, who wants to talk about his okra.
Good morning, Homer. What's going on with the okra?
Wanted to ask you a question about I've got okra production is real good this year, and it's been kind of dry, and I just wanted to ask, I water this stuff about once a week.
Yeah.
Does it really need water? Because I know it's an African plant, and I'm just wondering.
It's a good question. There's a lot of country folks who've been growing okra long before we had hoses. Okra is from a hot, dry part. One of the benefits is that tolerates heat, just like cotton, which is related. It doesn't need to be watered, but if you water it really deep, I don't mean just wet it down, but really water it deep every week or 2 or 3, it'll keep growing and producing. It also helps give it just a little extra fertilizer, because if you're watering every week, a lot of that fertilizer is washed away. So if you'll put just a light sprinkle of fertilizer out there, a good deep soaking every couple of 3 weeks should be plenty. If you don't water at all, it's just going to be stunned and not produce as well.
Okay, yeah, because it's producing like crazy. I've been watering it about, like you said, I've been watering about once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I just leave the soaker hose on it for, about an hour or so. Yeah. It's good and wet around the feet.
If you water till it starts standing in the rows, that's too long. See how long it takes for water to start standing, and then that's a little bit too long. If you'll next time water just a little bit less than that, and then come back a couple of 3 hours later and do it again, that really puts the water down deep. And it can go a whole lot longer between soakings if you put the water down deep. But rather than let it stand out there, let it soak water a couple of times if you can. By the way, have you ever switched your okra? Ever hear about switching okra?
I move it around every year because what I found is if I move it around, it tends to grow bigger. I don't know. It looks like it pulls a lot of nutrients out the ground or something.
It does, and you need to give it just a little extra fertilizer once when you plant, and just a little bit in the middle of summer to sort of keep them going the rest of summer. Else they just wear out.
Yeah, I always forecast the way I fertilize. I always forecast it right before planting and breaking into the ground, so the roots can get it, and then do a little bit around it. I break the ground up around it before it gets ready to rain, but we hadn't been getting a lot of rain, and just just let the rain put it into the ground, a little bit of organic fertilizer.
Yeah, and organic fertilizer is good because it takes organic fertilizer doesn't work fast. It has to be broken down by microbes and bacteria and worms and stuff to be usable by the plant. But if you use an organic fertilizer, natural fertilizer, you probably don't need to hit it a second time. But main thing is if you plant some wilting, how far apart do you put your plants?
I put my plants about a yard apart.
That's good. That's good. You're doing great, man. I wouldn't do, if they're producing, I wouldn't do anything, but water a little bit longer, a little bit less often. I think you'll be fine.
I got you. Appreciate it, Felder. Y'all have a good rest of the day.
I appreciate your call. Really, really good question there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Homer, out there in Clarksdale. Haven't heard from Homer in a while, but he's tuned in.
Good. What do the calls look like?
Let's go to Fletch in Ridgeland.
Fletch, what's up, man? Good morning.
Good morning. I got a question about the tree age, but first of all, if your scoutmaster taught you how to make a good slit trench for a latrine, you didn't need to use the backside of a tree.
You didn't know Leslie Fletcher then.
Live with him for 50 years.
I understand. He was my scoutmaster. Anyway, it's just an old joke is all.
Yep. No, I know. So on the tree age, I take it there has been, quasi or very scientific studies that absolutely correlate that the tree age is, probably within 2 or 3% of 365 days, to call it a year. It's not just, year and a half or 9 months. It's pretty close. They've planted trees when people were born, and they've looked at it pretty close that way.
Huh. That's interesting. That is really interesting, Fletch. That food for thought. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Thank you. Think Radio means make me think too. I'm gonna look that one up. That's really interesting.
All right, good stuff. Y'all take care. Have a good weekend.
You were raised right, Spence. Fletch.
Yeah, appreciate you, Fletch. That is something to think about. Is it exactly 365 or is it like 380, 390?
Don't know. We're gonna look that one up. What's it look like?
Now we do have a question from the YouTube. Let's see. This is Erica, and good morning, Felder and Java. How can I get I had to even look this up, how to pronounce it. Frangipani to bloom? Frangipani. There you go. To bloom.
Oh, I don't know. Frangipani is, I've forgotten what it is. Is that the same thing as a Hawaiian lily plant?
Yes, it is a Hawaiian plant.
Okay. These plants typically here they bloom from spring till fall. They bloom all the time in Hawaii where it's tropical. But to get it to bloom here, it needs to go through a rest period. Usually they drop their leaves. If you got it in a pot, almost always people freak out because in the late summer or fall, they drop all their leaves and it looks like it's dying. But that's what they do naturally. They shed all the leaves. You can stop watering them completely over for a few months. They start watering, they put out new growth and start blooming. So I would think just sunshine. They need at least 6 or 8 hours of direct sunshine and a little bit of a good all-purpose, well-balanced fertilizer, not just some natural stuff you throw out there. Something that's got all the ingredients that potted plants need, a little bit at a time, and keep it moist and need some sunshine. That should kick them into blooming. We have quite a few people in Mississippi who are collectors of them. There's several in Jackson who have just maybe 15 different kinds in full bloom. But I don't think they do anything special other than let them go dormant in the winter and then keep them moist, a little fertilizer, and sun in the summertime. Other than that, I think it's the luck of the draw like with crepe myrtle trees.
That's not what we want to hear, luck of the draw.
Well, I tell you what, if she'll tune in next week, I will be an expert on it. I will know a lot. But see if there's anything special you can do. But mostly right now, sunshine, a little bit of not much, but a little bit of fertilizer. That'll at least buy us time till I become more of till I talk to real experts on it.
Okay. And if you can believe
I made myself a note: age of trees and frangipani blooming.
That was funny because I looked it up and the pronunciation thing said frangipani, but it's frangipani.
And Java, I gave a talk to a garden club night before last, and I had to say tomato and oregano instead of tomato and oregano. And the garden club ladies say camellia, and we say camellia. So, either, potato, frangipani, frangipani. I'm going to learn more about it. I'll be an expert on it next week. We're going to talk about lots of stuff next week. There's a few things I didn't get around to today that will wait, but it is a good time to visit a garden center. Look for some tomato and pepper plants. It's a good time to put them out. Java and I are going to take a week off. I'm going to take a week off. Java's got to work every day. And we're going to come back and yak. If you get a chance, go to a farmer's market. Take a kid with you. Meet people who are out there sweating and working and watering and harvesting and doing their best to bring real stuff from Mississippi to you. Support our farmers markets. If you have a chance to take a kid out, show them how to do what we do best. Show them how to do it right. Tell them how to get dirty. See y'all next week.